Hello, my name is Indy and I'm 20, and this behind me is my playground. This is RSPB Sherwood Forest, and I've been volunteering in the forest with the RSPB ever since I was 14, and I still enjoy it just as much now as I did then. And my plan for today is to take you on a bit of a tour around the forest to show you just the power and the strength in volunteering and what I've got out of it, because I've met so many amazing people, seen so many amazing species and learned so much about the forest that I would really love to take you on a little tour. So let's have a look. Now, I would like to introduce you to Twister. This is my absolute favourite tree in the forest, just because it's a tree that twists. I mean, look at it, it's absolutely unbelievable. But the most amazing thing about this tree is that it's still alive. This whole section of bark carries all the nutrients that it needs up the back limb where it twists and feeds all these branches up in the canopy. But there's nothing inside. All the heart rot has rotted away. There is no innards to this tree. It's literally the shell all the way across the outside keeping it up. But it's just my absolute favourite. I've never seen a tree anywhere in the world that looks quite as spectacular as this. So welcome to the forest floor of RSPB Sherwood, and you join me sat on a beautiful log that used to be a big ancient oak. And I just wanted to talk a bit about what the RSPB are doing here. So they've had management rights in the forest around about 2018, 2019, so a good few years now, and they've really transformed the forest for the better. What you can see behind me is what we call woodland pasture. So it's not just a woodland, it's not just a monoculture, and it isn't just a monoculture in terms of the understory as well. It's a mishmash of lots of different habitats. You've got bits of scrub in the mix, bits of open ground floor for the ground nesting birds to forage and nest, and of course some of the fantastic ancient oaks, the next generations and the younger ones. We've got the whole generation of oak trees coming through here, because that's what makes Sherwood so special, is those ancient oaks. We have the largest collection of ancient oaks in Europe here, 997 ancients. This is one of the magnificent trees I'm talking about. This is a beautiful ancient oak tree, and just look at it, the size of it and the width of the trunk and the breadth of the branches is just absolutely an unbelievable example of an ancient oak. And this right here is exactly what we're trying to protect, and especially here because Sherwood Forest has the largest concentration of trees like these ancient oaks in Western Europe. We've removed some of the lower shrubs that go around the tree, so it's something called haloing, so just opening up the surrounding area to make sure that this tree gets enough light in as possible. Because the way these trees age is that they start to fall away from the top. As they get older, they can't support these larger limbs anymore, so they start to drop. So then what they do, they start sending out shoots like these to gather sunlight. But of course, if you have loads of tall trees around catching all the sunlight at the top of the canopy, these lower branches aren't going to get any. So the haloing just allows trees like these to keep going for as long as possible. But what I also love to think about is what this tree has seen. This tree could be, goodness, 600, 700 plus years old. It's been standing here for so long, so many moments in history that this tree has bared witness to just by doing its thing. And to think that this tree supports however many hundreds, if not thousands, different life forms is really quite something. We're now on the heathland. This is called Budbee, and again multiple priority species here, but two of the main ones are nightjar and woodlark. And in this area we are in particular on the western side of the reserve is one of the first places that nightjar were kind of recorded on site really, and they've been doing really well. However, we always recognise that some bits of the reserve maybe could perform better for birds like these. So what we've done here is open it up to create a bit more of a glade to encourage nightjar, because they're a ground nesting bird, but they still like a bit of shelter, a bit of protection. So there's a couple of things we've done here. So this whole area around me here used to be a big block of pine, and we've chopped it down, mostly removed it in some cases, but sometimes we've left them. So places like this, we've managed to kind of pleach it here, and also it creates a nice bit of shelter beneath the pine here, and also potentially even a perch for nightjar to churr on, that fantastic haunting sound you hear in the lovely late summer evenings. So obviously we're not wasting any of the timber, this is still of interest to us. And then over here, because nightjar are, as I said, a ground nesting bird, but they also need their privacy, and they are quite susceptible to disturbance. That could be from dogs, that could be from people, you know, any predators, things like that. So what we've done with some of the timber over here is create a bit of a screen. So we've felled some of the trees to make it a bit harder for some of those species or people trying to get in towards the nightjars. It just gives them that little bit of extra privacy, that little bit of extra space in protection with this glade. And as I said, none of the timber is wasted. So in the distance you can see over there, we also have a log pile with some of the larger trunks that we decided to wedge between those two trees, and that will rot down over time and create, as we've already talked about, that fantastic dead wood habitat, which is so important. But it's really things like this that is what I really enjoy about volunteering, because there's a number of these kind of glades that we've opened up, and I'm also involved with the surveys here on site. And when you're surveying these fantastic areas and you see a new pair of nightjar or woodlark or any other bird that's essentially sort of set up camp in one of these areas that we've opened up, it is the most satisfying feeling knowing that you and that fantastic group of people have done your bit, and it's actually resulted in a new territory or a new set of birds moving into the area. It is the most satisfying thing. But of course, in Sherwood and on the heathland, it's all about trees. And another benefit of opening up this area is to enhance the life of this fantastic next generation oak tree, giving it as much light around its lower branches as we possibly can. So this all seems absolutely fantastic, and not to put a downer on things, it really, really is. RSPB Sherwood is an absolutely fantastic woodland, so well managed, and so many amazing species, as we've talked about, they're all thriving in the forest, which is so brilliant. And it gives me a huge amount of pride to be able to volunteer here and to have done my bit along with so many other amazing volunteers helping out within the woodland, making it better for people and nature. But the problem is still the lack of woodland. You can look out over this expanse, and although it looks big, in the grand scheme of things, it really, really isn't. And you can look out over the surrounding landscape and still see how fragmented it is. You've got this field here, you've got the arable, you've got the farmland, the forestry, the villages, the rows, all cut up what used to be an absolutely ginormous woodland. And now we just have these fragments left. So I suppose my message is, and what we all need to strive for, I believe, is larger, healthier landscapes managed in the same way the RSPB managed Sherwood here so brilliantly. So yeah, we need those larger, resilient landscapes if we have a chance of saving nature.